Well, it is a cold day in North Carolina right now. I'm not really looking forward to heading outside into my garage because it's not heated. But yeah, Brandon's over, my buddy with the S13, and he's working on his car right now. And I'm going to head outside and actually get started on something. Well, left off yesterday. I got done with all of the bars in the rear. So we're going to continue off of that. I'm going to tack these bars into place right here because I want to fully weld them. So I'm going to drop the cage one more time today. For the last time, hold on. Finally, so like I said, if I remember what I was saying, going to be tacking these two bars into place, the mainstays for the rear. And then once I tack those into place, I'm going to put as much weld as I can down on them onto the main hoop and break the tacks onto the plate and then move all of it forward, drop the cage one last time, start on the windshield braces. So they're going to run from right here on the front lateral to the windshield bar on both sides. Once I get those in, welded up completely, then I'm going to start on the sill bar today. And then finally, once I get the sill bar done, all of the cage is going right back where it's supposed to go for the final time, welding up the cage boxes and then the cage feet to the boxes, at least with a pretty good tack. I might fully weld them up later on, but the boxes are definitely getting welded in today. And then I'll start welding all 6 of the bars that I got done in the rear. So quite a bit of stuff to do today. Try to get it all done before the weekend. That way I can move on to the front and be done with the rear. And then I just got the door bars and the windshield bars, and that's pretty much it. But enough talking about it. I'm gonna get started on tacking those in. And I completely forgot before I broke my tacks that I needed to do the windshield bar first. That way these legs are exactly where they're supposed to go. So I've got some C-clamps holding them right now in the same spot that they're actually going to be welded into. Just because when I do break the tacks, they kind of flex inward just a little bit, and I don't want them to take that shape permanently because it is easy to move them right now. And they can go back to their original position. But once I weld these bars, that might actually make moving them over to their original spot a little bit more difficult. This is an optional support bar, so you don't have to have it. I just chose to, looking at a bunch of other cages and stuff like that, everybody's got them, and it would make sense to have them. So I'm gonna throw them in there. They're pretty simple to make. This can be a straight bar coming from here to here. And since it is an optional support bar, you can make it a smaller bar diameter. But to keep things simple, and I have so much scrap already of this size tubing, I'm just going to use that since I already have plenty of small pieces that are probably going to fit in there with just a little bit of notching. So we get the measurements, notch them out really quick, tack them into place, and then we can drop the cage and fully weld them. both of them have a decent amount of weld on them, so they're not going to be moving anytime soon. So I'm going to pull the cage feet and now drop it for the last time. Cage is fully dropped for the last time now, hopefully. Well, it will be unless I cut it out. But anyway, next step, I'm going to weld up both of these fully. And then move on to these windshield bars, and we can get it back up and throw the sill bar in. And it's the next day. So last night I didn't get like anything done, so I welded all of this one in and the two rear bars. So I still have that one to do before I can lift the cage back up. The reason I didn't get anything done, mostly because I went back over the rule book just to make sure that I was in compliance, because I kind of have like little, not panic attacks, but I like start to overthink it in my head. Like, oh crap, I don't know if these bars are actually in that, like the allowed optional supports. So I checked and I'm like, oh crap, they're not in there and whatnot. We'll wait for my compressor to stop. There we go. All right, that was bad timing for that. Anyway, so I emailed the scrutineer and I was like, are these bars allowed, whatnot? And he's like, yeah, of course they are. You are allowed to gusset anything that you want. And these are just considered gussets, not actual additional supporting bars or anything like that. So these actually used to be required before roof bars were required. So before you had like the V or the X for the roof bars, you had to have the gussets or the bars for the windshield bar. So I'm good with those. And then I started welding them in after that, but it had already been like an hour and a half of me waiting, researching online, waiting to get the email back and whatnot. So gonna weld that one in really quick. Get that done really quick. Yeah, it takes me a long time to TIG weld. I dip my tungsten like every 5 seconds with that thing. So not the best with like kind of trying to freehand. So dipping the tungsten happens a lot. Anyway, so weld that in. And then I'm gonna primer all of the cage, or at least all of the weird areas of the cage that I'm not gonna be able to get at. So like the areas that are gonna be butted up against the A-pillar, the roof and whatnot. Because it's going to be really hard to get a paint gun in there later on and primer it once it's completely done. So I'm going to slap primer on there. That way I don't have to worry about any rusting in the future or anything like that. So, yep, and then once I get that, then we'll actually start on the sill bar and weld everything in. So, long day ahead because I didn't get like anything done yesterday, so I got like pushed. I've got a nice schedule that I keep trying to cram stuff in every day. And I keep falling behind every time. So got to actually get some stuff done today and just keep pushing. And both of them are fully welded now, so we can move on to primering the sides of the cage, and then we'll get them back out on its cage feet. So the A-pillar bar is going to be pretty simple to make. It's just a straight bar. It's going to run from here to there. I'm going to level it with the other side as long as I can. The only thing that I do have to remember is the sill bar, the A-pillar support bar, and the lower door bar all have to be within 4 inches of where they're going to weld to the cage foot. So I can't go very high with it. So I'm going to try to get it as low as possible with still having room to fully weld the cage foot to the actual box. I don't want to go too low. Actually, I probably could go low enough and then I could just include that in there. I'm not sure if that's actually legal though. I'm sure it would be, but I'd have to double check with that anyway. But the notches are going to be pretty straightforward. That notch will be pretty simple. This notch will be a little bit different because it's got the X bar that's meeting up with it, so I'll have to finesse it just a little bit to get around that. But it's pretty simple, so I'm going to get my measurements and notch the front side and then slowly start finessing the rear side. First side is notched and fits pretty good. This one was not too bad to get. The fitment's pretty close right now. Just need to bevel the edges a little bit obviously before I weld it, but it fits in there really nice. So I just need to copy these measurements and make the other side. Both bars are completely tacked in right now. I use the MIG because I am completely out of argon for the TIG, so that sucks. I gotta wait till Monday to pick it up. So I'm probably gonna start on the dash bar and the intrusion bars next, but I'll make that in another video. All right, I'm in here because my buddy Brandon's busy grinding a bunch of tubes, making a bunch of noise. You can probably actually hear him still. Anyway, so that's all I'm doing in this video. I would have really liked to have welded in those bars fully, as well as the rear bars fully too, but whatever, I have to wait till Monday till I can go get welding gas for that. Anyway, like I said, I'm starting on the dash bar and the intrusion bars and the plates that go to the front strut towers. Now, while I make that, I think I'm going to just MIG weld those in because they're going to be tucked up. You're not even going to notice that it's a different process and it's still just as strong, so it's not really a big deal. And it'll probably be easier because I can actually get in there a little bit better with a TIG torch because those are going to be some weird tucked up angles. I don't really like mixing processes like that, and I wouldn't if you could actually see it. But it's not really a big deal because it's going to be tucked behind the dash, and all of those are optional bars anyway. They're not required by FIA rules, so I'm just adding those in for a little bit more rigidity for the chassis and a little bit more safety. Anyway, appreciate you guys watching my videos. I really say that probably way too much, but I really do. And I say that way too much too. But anyway, let me know if you guys actually want to see the other cage that we're building right now in the drift car. That cage is definitely way less intricate because of the fact that it's an FD spec cage. He's not going crazy with optional supports and whatnot. So it's pretty much just like a main hoop, front laterals, windshield bar, not even a roof bar, intrusion bars, and then down bars in the rear, and a harness bar in one diagonal in the main hoop, so it's a pretty simple cage to go into there compared to the FIA rules that I have to follow, and the fact that I added so many optional bars. Anyway, I'm gonna get right back to work, start on another video, so I'll stop rambling and get back out there. Anyway, you guys have a good night, morning, whatever time you're actually watching this, I don't know, but yeah, you guys have a good day.